Hey everybody, today I'm going to answer one of the biggest questions that I get on social media, which is, am I married? As a domestic violence survivor and victim of a horrible husband for 24 years, as well as being a very outspoken supporter of the West for Beef movement and full-time feminist, people are often surprised when they see Kevin in the background. In the next few weeks, Kevin and I are going to be doing some comprehensive videos about how we have structured our family and all the ins and outs of that. But Kevin is out of town today at his grandpa's funeral, which just happened this morning. So I'd like to share how I, as a 24-year survivor of brutally violent domestic abuse, navigate a committed relationship in ways that make me feel safe and happy and still serve our relationship and my partner. I do think it's really important to start this and every one of my videos by saying that I don't think it's possible to spend time in domestic violence without having a professional therapist help you get past that. I've now worked with therapists for coming up on 6 years, and I have highly qualified, highly skilled trauma and abuse specific therapists, as do my children, to help process and get over some of those things, heal the PTSD and trauma bonds, but also to teach me how to have healthy, functional relationships. Not only did I spend 24 years in an abusive home, but I came from an abusive, highly dysfunctional childhood home. So I found myself at age 44 wanting to have healthy relationships, not wanting to get back into what I had just come out of, but really not having any of those skills to achieve those more mature, functional relationships. So everything that I'm going to talk about in this video was contingent on that first step. First, I had to learn how to be a human and interact with other humans. And my therapists and Brene Brown, Esther Perel, Stan Tatkin, Sue Johnston have been wonderful at helping me to learn those things. Oh, and I should also give a shout out to Dr. Romani here on YouTube. If you are not watching and reading Dr. Romani, if you are not having your children who are of dating age watch Dr. Romani, you are missing so much. I actually credit her with making me cluster B personality proof. In fact, if I had had Dr. Romani's YouTube channel 30 years ago, I wouldn't have even gone on that second date with Jake. It would have been over. After the collapse of my marriage and divorce, and then my faith crisis and deconstruction of and transition out of the Mormon church, I started kind of deconstructing everything else around me, including marriage. Without God, there was really no reason for marriage in my eyes. Marriage is, after all, a man-made construct. It was invented more around property, the ownership of the woman, the ownership of the woman's offspring, the ownership of any possessions that the woman may bring into the relationship, than it was about love. For probably hundreds of thousands of years before marriage was invented, humans had done just fine. They'd had beautiful, healthy, organic relationships without the piece of paper, without the enforcement from the government, and everybody seems to have been pretty happy. After my divorce, I dated quite a bit, and every single guy that I dated, I told them right from the get-go that I do not believe in marriage. I no longer want to be legally bound to somebody else. I don't want somebody else to potentially do all the things to me that Jake had done because we were married. Part of it was fear of commitment, but part of it was just a logical hesitation to commit to somebody again and have my life and my children's lives in any way destroyed. It was just too great of a risk. So fast forward to meeting Kevin, the love of my life, my best friend, the best human being that I have ever known on planet Earth. We knew from the get-go that there was something really special. But I also told him from the very beginning that I did not ever want to get married again. So as our relationship got more serious, we eventually moved in together. And we're very strategic about how we blended our families, our finances, our possessions, our responsibilities and roles within the home. Then one day we were on a bike ride and I sort of proposed to him, but here's what I proposed. So because Kevin is Christian and works in a Christian school, and because his mom and dad and his aunts and uncles and everybody are Christian and his daughters are Christian, it was really important for his group to have some type of a commitment ceremony. His mom and dad didn't want to see us living in sin. And it was also really important for us to do something to signify to our children as we were combining families that we were committed to one another and that they could depend on the relationship, that it was not just a casual dating situation. My kids in particular, after the trauma of domestic violence, had a lot of insecurity, and we wanted to do something to really show them that we were committed to one another. But I don't want to get married. So we decided to have a church wedding to make all of the Christian family feel good that we had committed to one another in front of a pastor, but we wrote our own vows. I did not promise till death do us part. In my vows, I said that I would be loving and loyal to him for as long as it was good for both of us, and that should that change, that I would lovingly and gracefully step out of the relationship without causing him any harm. And it felt really authentic to me because in my first marriage, I had promised for time and all of eternity, and I didn't have any control of that. That marriage ended in divorce. So why promise forever to somebody else when I can't control that and neither can he? By the way, our church wedding was in the middle of the pandemic, so we could only have a couple of people in the church with us, with the pastor. So everybody else was on Zoom. The whole wedding cost me like $30 for the dress and the Trader Joe's flower bouquet, which I made myself. I'm also anti-wedding. I think that couples should spend that money on something real, not go bankrupt to support the wedding industry. Despite the church wedding, we did not file a marriage certificate. We are filed as domestic partners, which in the state of Arizona is quite different. We don't have to have attorneys or a mediator should our relationship end. We just pay a little bit of money to do a very simple filing to the court. We did discuss me legally changing my name anyway to his last name, but that's one thing that I think we should just completely do away with in America, especially with the divorce rate being so high. There are many countries where women don't take their husband's last names. After my divorce, I had changed my name from my ex-husband's last name to my dad's birth name, which was very significant and meaningful to me and my family. And frankly, I'm tired of giving up my identity for a man, no matter how much I love him. So I did actually ask Kevin if he wanted to take my last name, and he said, oh my gosh, my dad would be like horrified if I gave up my name. So I said, oh yeah, me too. My dad would be horrified if I gave up my name. I worried that that would cause some confusion because my kids have a different last name than me, have a different last name than Kevin and his kids. And sometimes it's like, what do we call ourselves? Are we the Ranke family? Are we the Gage family? Are we the Green family? Well, we're all of those things. I usually just refer to us as the Jenny and Kevin family. So I do flip-flop a little bit on what I call Kevin. I like the word partner because that is what he is to me. Kevin is my partner. I don't particularly like the term wife. I don't like having a husband because Jake was so triggering, and it's part of the patriarchy that I would like to get rid of. So when I say the word partner, it's deeply meaningful to me. But if we're around the church people, I call him my husband. And I would say that he probably refers to me as his wife or his honey 99.9% of the time. And both of those things are true because we did have a church wedding. He is my husband. I am his wife in the eyes of a Jesus that I don't believe in. But we're filed as domestic partners, so we are also partners. It is kind of funny that when I say the word partner, people who don't know us automatically assume that I'm a lesbian. And then we've had to set up legal decision-making, power of attorney, and beneficiaries on life insurance and things like that to protect each other. We also have 3 separate bank accounts. We have his that I cannot touch. I can see it. I can see if he's spending money on something that he shouldn't be, but I can't touch any of it. That's where his child support, things that go to his kids goes. Then we have a combined account for our expenses that we share together. Then I have an untouchable account that once again he can see, but it's not his. We would consider marriage if we financially have to as we age, but I have to say that I absolutely love the way that we have structured our relationship. It makes me feel secure and legally and financially protected, but also every day we choose to be here. We're not just